Hey guys, Tiptesh here back with another video. Now, this is not going to be a scripted video or anything like that, totally unscripted. I just want to give my raw thoughts on the newly released Apple's iPhone SE 3 or iPhone SE 2022. Now, I did not intend to make this video at first. Personally, I don't care about what Apple releases. I don't really care other than their M1 series of SoCs, which genuinely excite me. But other than that, I don't really care about their phones or tablets just because I find their lockdown approach to iOS and iPadOS more counterintuitive than actually helpful. But I had to make this video once I saw the review videos of the iPhone SE 3 coming out and how people are actually defending it somehow. And also people in the comments defending the iPhone SE 3. So this got me a little bit irked up, so I wanted to make this video. Now let me get this straight. The iPhone SE 3 is a smartphone released in 2022 at a price tag of 43,000 Indian rupees for the 64GB non-expandable base model that comes with a 4.7-inch 720p IPS display without HDR support, a single back camera with an older sensor without a night mode support, and minuscule battery, probably less than 2000 milliamp hours, which will also degrade faster over the years. Now imagine an Android phone or Android manufacturer coming out with this type of phone with this type of specification at this price tag. It would probably be laughed out of existence. Now I'm just gonna say it openly. I don't care how many dislikes this video gets, but I'm just gonna say it openly and blatantly that the iPhone SE 2022 represents a disgustingly low value for money in 2022, even by Apple standards. It is solely made for those people who are absolutely desperate to get an iPhone but are on a tight budget. Tight budget in the sense over 40,000 rupees apparently. But yeah, guys, I don't care what device you buy. I don't care what are your preferences and all that, but I absolutely hate it when people spend their money, waste their money on products that are absolutely not worth your money, not worth your hard-earned money. And believe me guys, Apple is preying on people like you who are absolutely obsessed with iPhones, and Apple is just looting you. You have no idea the level of poor value for money that this phone is providing at this price range. Now before I carry on, if you actually want a good phone in this price range, 40k, you have got 40 to 45k to spend and you want a good phone, don't think about it like I want an iPhone or something, like iPhone is extremely superior or that is what people has made you believe. It's not like that, guys. Look at technology through an open mind, and if you're in the market for a proper phone, a good phone at this price range, not just an iPhone, then there are several other phones. There's a Xiaomi Mi 11T Pro, you've got the OnePlus 9RT, you've got phones like the Galaxy S20 FE 5G, which I reviewed earlier. You can check it out on my channel. There are plenty of choice, guys. At 40k, you will not be compromising, unlike you are doing with the iPhone SE 2022, as I'm gonna elaborate further. So if you're in the market for a good phone, not just an iPhone, then you have a lot of other choices. Okay, let's move on. Now there are people who are defending this iPhone SE using several points, so let's just talk about some of these points and let me try to debunk them. Number one is the Apple A15 Bionic SoC. Yes, Apple has decided to provide you the fastest smartphone SoC on the planet, the Apple A15 SoC, inside this iPhone SE 2022. An iPhone with a tiny body, slim chassis that is not capable to dissipate the heat and dim its display in any intensive workload like gaming or any kind of other intensive workload. Dim its display, which is already dim to begin with. Now, I know a lot of people may actually go and get this iPhone just because they want to play games on it. Okay, because truth be told, the A15 Bionic is absolutely killer. I love it. Okay, but putting this A15 Bionic in this type of chassis with a 4.7-inch screen, I don't think you're going to enjoy your gaming sessions that much, because the display is not only small, the display is also kind of dim, and since the body is so slim and like it's just slim, there is less room to dissipate heat. You can see your the typical iPhone 13 Pro Max are pretty thick phones because they require that thickness to dissipate the heat properly. Okay, so you're not going to get the best experience even if you get an A15 Bionic. The chassis is simply not designed to handle this kind of SoC. Also, the phone's battery size is very small, and I think it's just like the iPhone SE 2020. And iPhone SE 2020 didn't have good battery life, especially users who have been using it for, like Apple users claim they're going to use their phone for many years because they have such long update cycles and all that. Man, the iPhone SE 2020 has lost a lot of its battery life over the years. Obviously, because already you have a small raw capacity which also keeps degrading with every charge cycle. So even if you claim that it's a multi-year phone, it is really not. It's poor battery size. Okay, I'm just gonna make it clear. Don't expect long battery life from this phone, not at all. In my opinion, the Apple could have just put the A13, which is plenty powerful, or even the A14 in this body, and provided you with other quality of life improvements like a larger display, maybe a brighter display, maybe a OLED display, or perhaps a larger battery size along with a larger base storage variant. I think this would be a lot better quality of life improvement versus just giving you a raw horsepower with the A15 Bionic. Number 2, many people are claiming that this phone is made for senior people or old people who want a simple phone. They don't really care about the latest and greatest specifications. It's a phone for them who want a simple phone. Now, you tell me, does your grandma or grandpa require an A15 Bionic in their phone? If they need a simple phone, do they really need to spend 43,000 rupees on a phone like this? I don't think so. There are plenty of simple phones available in the market which will be just perfect for the type of things you're going to do on an iPhone SE 2022. You're going to text, you're going to take pictures, post videos, do social media and stuff. There are plenty of phones that can handle these types of use cases very easily. So you don't necessarily need an A15 Bionic iPhone SE 2022 for these types of works. Okay, I think your grandparents will benefit a lot more from a larger display which is visible better in outdoor conditions over an A15 Bionic, or it can also benefit, as I said, with a larger battery capacity just to elongate the life of the phone. Now, some people claim that because of the A15 Bionic, Apple can update their phones for a long time. Now, again, this logic doesn't apply here because the phone's battery life is it's going to be so bad after like a couple of years that Apple will probably send out updates to lower the performance to increase the battery life. But it's just physics. Battery will degrade after many charge cycles and the capacity will further shrink down. So this doesn't make sense. It should have had a larger battery. A processor could have been compromised. So yeah, even if it had an A13 or A14 chipset, it could still receive updates for years to come because they are still powerful enough. So it doesn't make sense to put the fastest SoC possible with one of the smallest battery sizes in the industry. So it just doesn't match up. Okay. Number 3, Android phones don't get as long support from their manufacturers as Apple gives to their iPhones. This is one point that I absolutely agree on. Apple provides awesome support for the premium phones. Basically, all of their phones are premium phones and they receive OS updates up to like next 5 years or something like that. Now, that is great, and that is one thing missing from Android. So Samsung has somewhat caught up to Apple with their 4 years of Android updates and 5 years of security updates with their latest S series of phones 2022, and they probably will expand it to their A series and all that. But in general, Android manufacturers don't update their Android phones as frequently or as long as Apple does. This is one benefit that Apple genuinely has, but you should also understand why it's easier for Apple. First of all, there are not many Apple iPhone devices available in the wild. Plus, Apple owns the entire tech stack. From the hardware to the lowest level software code is completely owned by Apple. So there is zero fragmentation and full control by Apple. This is something that is not possible with Android manufacturers. Nobody owns the entire tech stack. This has its disadvantages, but it also has its advantages. I'm going to come to it a little later. Okay. Now, one more thing that I must also tell you, that many iPhone users think that Android phones have like a very low lifespan of like 1 year or 2 years. They think like this because they think that since they don't receive the latest Android update, latest Android OS update, they become unusable or something like that. No, it's not like that. See, Android phones, even if they are not updated for years to come, they will still run the latest versions of the applications available in the Play Store just fine. So like, for example, I have a Asus Zenfone Max Pro M1. I've been using it for over 3.5 years. It cost me only $150 when I purchased it back in August 2018, and I use it to the fullest. I am a power user, guys. Don't take me lightly. I am a power user. You can check my other channel, Ditesh Loves Tech, to see what kind of stuff we deal with. So I am a power user, and I use that $150 Android phone to its maximum, okay, for over 3.5 years. And even in 2022, it runs all the apps that I need to run perfectly fine. All the apps that I use on my current Android 12 phone, everything runs fine on that phone as well. Okay, so it's not like my phone is just outdated and will just die and it's unusable or something like that. No, it's not the case. Whereas for iPhones, OS updates are pretty much a necessity, because in case of the App Store, Apple App Store, the apps are much more unforgiving on the older iOS versions. Many of the apps become incompatible or not, or they just don't work on older versions of iOS. So this is something that doesn't happen with Android. In Android, the apps are much more forgiving to old Android versions. So keep this in mind. Plus, one more thing that I would like to add, and for example, I have this S20 A15G. I reviewed it, as I said you. So this phone can do so much. This phone can do a lot more compared to any iPhone. Even if the iPhone is updated to iOS 20 or whatever in the next 5 years, I can guarantee you that this Android phone can do much more already compared to the iPhone, that you just don't care about it. There is so many features packed and stuffed into it that you may not care about. Okay, but they are genuinely useful. You can do a lot more with this Android phone than you can do with any iPhone. I can challenge you. And I know you don't care about most of these features, but it is a thing with Android that it can do more. iOS may be more stable. Apparently, this is also plenty stable. I don't know. I don't face an issue with this. This is what the industry says, right? The iPhones are more optimized. They are more stable. They are smoother in the long run. But you should also remember that iPhones and iOS can also do much less compared to an Android phone. On an Android phone, you have the full control. You are the admin. But on an iPhone or an iPad, you do as Apple says. Number 4 is that iPhone SE 2022 is a cheaper way to get into the Apple ecosystem. This point really gets me all the time. I have a question to you guys. Why do you want to be in an ecosystem, especially an ecosystem that locks you away from the outside world and causes hindrance to you when you want to interact with the outside world? Why do you want to lock yourself in such an ecosystem? Why do you need an ecosystem at all in the first place? Why can't your phone be just as usable, just as practical as a standalone device as it can without an ecosystem? Why do you need an ecosystem for your expensive iPhone to be at its most practical, usable state? Why do you need an ecosystem? You already bought an expensive iPhone. Now you want to purchase more expensive Apple products just for the convenience. This is a concept that I don't get. Okay. So, for example, this Android phone, this S20 A5G, can interact with any phone made by Xiaomi, OnePlus, Vivo, whatever other brands are there. Okay, we can interact easily without any issues, without any barriers. We can exchange files among each other very easily, and there basically is no kind of blocks in between. Don't have to jump through hoops to achieve simple tasks. Similarly, I can connect this phone to any PC and interact and share files and manage this phone through any PC in the world, because any PC that I plug this phone into, this phone appears as a simple USB drive. I have full access to all the materials inside it and I can manage it in my own way. These are simple things that we have learned ever since we were kids. We started using file explorers and all that. You get all access to this in this phone, but you don't get in an iPhone. Choose something that gives you the freedom, of choice, that allows you to interact just as equally with any phone that is not made by your own manufacturer. So yeah, this is one thing that I genuinely hate about Apple, is this lockdown ecosystem. They want you to come in and stay locked in their walled garden. This is something that I don't support. For example, this phone has a USB-C port. It is a USB-C 3.2 Gen 1 port, which is very fast compared to Lightning port in the Apple iPhone SE 2022. Okay, this thing can also do display out. This phone can literally act as a personal computer if you want it to, because of its display out capability, right? I know these features are not meant for the target audience of the iPhone SE 2022, but I'm just telling you to demonstrate how poor value for money this current iPhone represents. I may not get the latest Android versions 3 years from now on, but it can already do so much that I don't really care about. And I'm just going to warn those people who are going to purchase the iPhone SE as their first iPhone, be prepared to deal with all the shenanigans and limitations of iOS. It's going to be a frustrating experience, let me tell you guys. So finally, I would like to complete this rant by saying that if the iPhone SE 2022 does well in the market, sells well, which it probably will, it is only going to be possible because it's an iPhone. And this is the mentality that I hate. People have become such that they prioritize the brand value over actual usability and value. This is the type of attitude that lets giant manufacturers like Apple and even Android manufacturers like Samsung get away with anti-customer tactics, because people just accept it. I don't think it's cool for people to accept these types of anti-customer tactics. I just don't support it. So yeah, that's all for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you did not like this video, hit the dislike button, drop your comment down below on what do you think about my thoughts. Do you think that I'm wrong? Or you can just put your comments down below. Let's be respectful and not start an argument. But yeah, and those who liked it, then please hit the like button, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell icon to get notified about my next video. So that's all, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.